All right, let's talk about how to reconcile your bank account to your bank statement. Okay. So reconciling in QuickBooks is very easy, hopefully, if we have everything recorded properly. So what we do is we come into our Reconcile button over here, or you can go up to Banking and then down to Reconcile. So we first select the account we're going to reconcile. So we're going to talk about doing a bank account now. The most common accounts that we reconcile are bank accounts and credit card accounts. You can reconcile other balance sheet accounts in QuickBooks. So look at our videos in some of our intermediate and advanced areas to talk about how you can do that. It's pretty powerful stuff. But for now, we're just going to reconcile our company checking account. If you had reconciled it before, it would have up here your last reconciliation date. Okay. So this one I haven't reconciled before since it says nothing there. So here, the statement date is going to be the statement date from your credit card statement that you got from your bank, right? So I'm going to come in here and say, 12/31/2020. The beginning balance amount, again, this is a sample file, so it's a little funny. If you've never reconciled it before, your beginning balance amount is going to be 0, okay? If this is your second month, third month reconciling, obviously you should have a beginning balance amount. That beginning balance amount should tie to your bank beginning balance, what it says on your statement. If it does not for any reason, again, we have future videos on how to locate discrepancies, etc. So then we put in here our ending balance. Again, this is the ending balance from our bank statement, not from any report in QuickBooks or looking at what our bank account balance is today. This is what the bank says your ending balance is. So why would there be a difference, right? There could be a difference because maybe on 12/31 you cut a couple of checks. So your QuickBooks account balance shows those checks, the cash taken out, right, for you to cut those checks. But they haven't cleared the bank yet, right? So that's why we want to reconcile to the bank here. So the bank tells us we have, 53,846.98. We want to put the bank account ending balance in there because we're trying to tie what we think, what we said in QuickBooks should have happened versus what actually happened, which is what the bank told us. Okay. We can enter service charges here. So if you get charged a $10 monthly fee or anything like that, we can't enter the service charges, the date of the charge, the account, right? Generally it's bank service charges as well as a class. You also can enter in any interest earned. So this would generally go to an other income account, which I don't have one set up in here, but an other income account called interest. And then again, the class here. If you connect to online banking most likely already picked up this interest or this service charge, so you don't need to enter them here. Because if you enter them here, it'll be duplicated. Down below here, we have locate discrepancies. Again, that is for troubleshooting if that beginning balance doesn't match. We have undo last reconciliation. If you think you have to undo it, it's probably a good idea to give us a call because there's probably some ways that we can help you out that you don't have to redo the reconciliations. I've seen customers sometimes undo reconciliations back several years just to get something like one transaction posted in August of 2018. So call us if you feel like you need to do that. And then we have cancel, they have some help, and then I'm going to go ahead and continue here. All right. So I have my reconciliation pulled up, and this is all of the data that has not previously been reconciled that's hitting my checking account. Okay. All of these transactions, you can double click to open up to see the transaction. You can see this is a check written to the checking account, out of the checking account. We also could have some journal entries in here. We could have some different types of transactions, bill payments. On this side, we have all of our deposits. So anytime we've had a deposit that has gone into that checking account. Now, it wouldn't show a deposit that had gone into the savings account, as an example, because right now I'm only reconciling the company checking account. You reconcile one account at a time. Okay. Up top here, it tells me what period I'm reconciling for, in case I forget. So I'm looking at my 12/31 bank statement. Over here, you can choose to check this box. What this will do is it'll hide all transactions after the statement's ending date. Okay. Sometimes that's helpful to do, especially if you're reconciling historically some. However, if it comes down to it and you go, I know this check is in here, why is it not showing up on my reconciliation? So sometimes if I had dated the check, let's say January 1st, and I had selected this hide transactions after the end date, it would not show me any checks as of January 1st, right? So first of all, if I'm reconciling it, it should be dated in the period I'm reconciling, because obviously I didn't cut that check January 1st if it cleared the bank in December. So we probably want to edit that check's date. But anyway, you just want to be aware of that. So you can choose to hide transactions after that date. Okay, down below, you do have all the different columns here. So again, it says checks and payments, deposits and other credits. You can sort by these fields, right? So if you're looking for an amount and there's so hard to find, $4.80, there's 3 of them and blah, blah, whatever it is, right? So sorting by sometimes can help, but just be aware if you sort by, right, that you are choosing the right one. You don't want to choose the wrong $4.80. Okay. Down below, you do have a preference. This was new a couple of years ago in QuickBooks. You can choose to highlight the marked ones. So as I'm marking off, this cleared, this cleared, this cleared, it kind of grays them out and makes it highlighted as I select them. We have unmark all or mark all. Go to the transaction. We can choose which columns to display. So I don't have like deposits here. I don't have checks. I don't have payees here. Probably those fields I don't need to show anymore. So I can come in here and say I don't need the payee field. I don't need the check number field, right? And it just takes them off of my columns to display. Okay. And then if we messed up, right? We put in a service charge. We realized we had done that twice, or the ending balance was incorrect, we did something wrong, you can modify it and get right back to that box that we started with by hitting modify down there. Okay, so these are all calculated fields. I can't edit any of these fields down here. So what it's telling me is it's saying I have, my beginning balance was $37,546. So far I've selected $95, so 6 deposits for $95 and 5 checks for $1108. Now, I only had checked off a couple here, right? So you can scroll down and let's see. Oh, there was 2 that I had marked previously that I had checked off, or actually these 2, in case you watched our voiding checks, these 2 are actually some checks that I had voided, right? And so QuickBooks automatically, when you do that void check in a closed period to an expense account, it will mark those off for you automatically, right? So the 50 on this side, the 50 on this side, it's a wash. So anyway, just to be aware. Okay, so I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to select, right? Oh, this cleared, this cleared, this cleared. If something's wrong, let's say it cleared the bank for $200 or $202 instead of $220. Again, I can open it up. I can see what happened. I can call the bank if there was an issue, right? This is our way to check the bank's work. It's our way to check our own work. Okay, so check, 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 all that cleared. Check off the deposits that cleared, right? And then the goal would be this difference down here is going to get down to 0. So we should never reconcile the bank accounts or the credit card accounts or our accounts if there is a difference, right? We should be able to figure out the difference. Now, if we're going to choose to write off 4 cents or something like that, that's a little bit different. So I'm going to pretend that I could not figure out the difference. $329, I mean, there's probably a transaction I haven't marked off. And the problem with that is that if I should have marked it off as reconciled and I'm choosing not to, right, to leave that difference in here and just write that difference off, then that amount is going to sit in here for until I, go in and reverse it in the future. Okay, so again, any difference that's not immaterial amounts, right, like under a couple dollars, probably you should figure out what's going on, okay, because something's off. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit reconcile now to force this through. So first of all, it says there is a $329.07, right? That's my difference. Discrepancy. It gives me a couple options. I can return to the reconciliation, keep going, try and figure it out. I can leave the reconciliation, so I can come back and look at it later if I'm, hitting my head against the wall. I can enter an adjustment. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and enter the adjustment for now, and again, show you what happens. Strongly not recommended. Walk away and come back to it and find that $329, or give us a call to do your reconciliations for you. We're really, good at doing that kind of thing. So what happens to that $329? So QuickBooks actually creates for you an account called Reconciliation Discrepancies. And as you'll hear through some of these videos, reconciliation discrepancies, miscellaneous, uncategorized, these are like red flags. Anything that's put to reconciliation discrepancies tells me that we have a variance, that nobody decided to figure it out. And you know what? If you don't figure out that variance, why it's not balancing, something else is wrong, right? You're missing a transaction in QuickBooks, or you marked a transaction in QuickBooks. You marked it as cleared when it really didn't clear. So something else is wrong if you have to use this reconciliation discrepancy account. So again, can you tell I don't like that account? All right. So what did it do with the $329? It stuck it to reconciliation discrepancies as of 12/31. So now I have this amount put in there, balance adjustment amount put on my profit and loss statement. It should have gone to income. It should have gone to automobile expenses. It should have gone somewhere else, not to just a generic holding account called reconciliation discrepancies. So usually when we see people, again, if it's material amount, if it's a small amount, we'll just write it off. When we see people that have reconciliation discrepancies in there, we'll usually go back, we'll figure out what it is, open up the transaction, and say this was supposed to go to, vendor refund income, because it's a credit and incomes, are credits, instead of putting it to that reconciliations. So of course we have to do some research to figure it out. It probably would have been a lot easier just to figure it out at the time of reconciliation. All right, now you can go reconcile your bank accounts.